Welcome to Trending Now USA. I'm Bella, and today we're diving deep into a conversation that's lighting up the tennis world, a debate surrounding Coco Gauff, her powerful rise, and the one topic that just won't seem to fade away, her forehand. The critics, analysts, and even casual fans have been talking about this supposed issue in her game, but now, her coach is setting the record straight, pushing back hard against what he calls a widespread misunderstanding of Gauff's technique and evolution. What's really going on here? Let's unpack everything from the court to the commentary box and see why Coco's forehand has become such a talking point and why her team believes it's being misrepresented. When you talk about Coco Gauff, you're talking about one of the brightest young stars in world tennis. At just 21, she's already a Grand Slam champion, a fixture in the top rankings, and a symbol of the next generation's athleticism, intelligence, and fire. But along with fame comes scrutiny, and that scrutiny has long centered around her forehand. From TV commentators to former pros, many have speculated that her technique on that side is less fluid or less consistent than the rest of her game. And while some of that critique has roots in her early career, her coach insists that people are missing the full picture, that Coco's forehand is not a flaw, but a weapon that's constantly evolving with purpose. In a candid interview, Gauff's coach explained that the constant chatter about her forehand has become more of a narrative than a reality. Everybody keeps saying there's something wrong with it, he said, but if you actually look at the numbers, the stats, and how she's winning points, the forehand is a big part of her success. He pointed to her aggressive positioning, her ability to hit on the rise, and her improved spin control as evidence that this so-called issue is overstated. In his view, Coco's development is right on track, and those who keep criticizing are analyzing the player she was 2 years ago, not the player she is today. It's a fascinating debate because Coco's forehand has been both her most questioned shot and, at times, her most dangerous weapon. Early in her career, she did have a slightly elongated swing, one that could break down under heavy pressure or on faster courts. But over the past 2 seasons, her team has worked tirelessly to refine that motion, tightening the backswing, improving balance, and increasing racket head speed through contact. The results have been obvious to anyone paying attention: more winners, more control, and the confidence to stand inside the baseline and dictate points. Still, perception in sports is powerful, and once an idea takes hold, it can be hard to shake. That's what frustrates her coach most, that so many people keep recycling outdated critiques without recognizing the growth. He went on to emphasize that what people call a technical flaw is often just a stylistic difference. Coco's forehand is unique, yes, he said, but so is Serena's, so is Nadal's. You don't have to look textbook to be effective. What matters is timing, control, and results. And Coco's results speak for themselves. It's an important point. Tennis history is full of unorthodox champions whose strokes defied convention. Rafael Nadal's looping, spin-heavy forehand was once considered too extreme. Serena Williams' open stance power shot was once labeled risky. But those flaws turned into the foundation of dominance. In Coco's case, her team believes the same transformation is underway, that her forehand is evolving into one of the most fearsome in the women's game. Part of the misunderstanding, her coach says, comes from the nature of modern tennis commentary. With slow-motion replays and high-definition analysis, every stroke is scrutinized frame by frame. Tiny differences in form can become talking points, even when they don't translate into performance issues. The reality, he explained, is that no one hits the same ball twice. Tennis is about adapting to the situation, to the opponent, to the surface, to the weather. Coco's forehand gives her options. It's not a liability, it's versatility. He also noted that Gauff's forehand has become a crucial part of her defensive arsenal, allowing her to transition from defense to offense with remarkable speed. That, he says, is a sign of maturity, not mechanical weakness. Of course, this discussion isn't happening in a vacuum. Coco Gauff's 2023 U.S. Open triumph marked her arrival as a genuine superstar, and with that status comes an intense spotlight. Every win, every practice session, every minor adjustment becomes news. But her coach sees that attention as a double-edged sword, flattering, yes, but also distorting. When you're as good as Coco is, people are always going to look for something to critique, he said. If she wins easily, they'll say her opponent wasn't strong. If she struggles, they'll say her technique is flawed. But the truth is, she's learning, she's improving, and she's already achieved what most players only dream of. It's not hard to see why her coach feels protective. Gauff has carried enormous expectations since bursting onto the scene as a 15-year-old who stunned Venus Williams at Wimbledon. Since then, her rise has been steady, not meteoric, defined by hard work, humility, and continuous refinement. She's never relied purely on power. Instead, she's built a game that blends speed, strategy, and grit. That blend, her coach argues, is exactly why her forehand will keep improving. We're not chasing perfection, he said. We're chasing progress. And Coco's progress is constant. For Coco herself, the chatter about her forehand seems to have little impact. She's addressed it with characteristic grace, saying she's aware of the conversation but not obsessed with it. I know people talk about it, she once told reporters, but I trust my team and I know what we're working on. That quiet confidence has become part of her identity, a calm, grounded belief that improvement is a process, not a performance for critics. And if her recent results are any indication, that mindset is paying off. Her 2024 season showcased both resilience and adaptation. There were tournaments where she steamrolled opponents with depth and consistency, her forehand firing with precision and purpose. In other matches, when under pressure, she adjusted mid-game, changing spin or trajectory to regain control. Those moments show what her coach means when he calls the shot functional. It's not about looking perfect, it's about solving problems in real time. That's the essence of elite tennis, and it's something Coco is mastering faster than most players her age. Meanwhile, the broader tennis world continues to debate. Some analysts have softened their tone, acknowledging that her shot selection and tactical intelligence have made her forehand less of a target. Others remain skeptical, arguing that under extreme pressure, say, against Iga Swiatek or Aryna Sabalenka, her forehand still occasionally leaks errors. But even those critics admit she's improved dramatically. As one former coach commented, the difference between a weakness and a work in progress is huge. And Coco's clearly in the second category. It's a subtle but important distinction that reflects the evolution of an athlete still years away from her prime. What makes this entire conversation so compelling is how it illustrates the psychology of sports perception. Once a player is labeled with a flaw, that narrative can trail them for years, even as their game evolves. For Coco, breaking that perception might require not just technical growth but symbolic victories, matches where her forehand becomes the reason she wins, not the reason she's questioned. Ironically, that's already happening. In multiple key matches this season, including her wins over top 10 opponents, it was her forehand that delivered the decisive blows. Flattening it out down the line, redirecting pace with precision, the very shot that critics doubted is now becoming a game-changer. Still, her coach's frustration is understandable. It's lazy analysis, he said bluntly. People love simple stories, strong backhand, weak forehand. But tennis isn't that simple. Coco's game is multidimensional. She's building something more complete than people realize. He also emphasized the mental growth that comes from constantly being scrutinized. Every time someone says she can't do something, it motivates her to prove them wrong, he smiled. That's the Coco I know. She doesn't argue. She just works. And work she has. Anyone who's followed her training videos knows her practice sessions are intense. Endless repetitions, focus on movement, recovery, and consistency. Her fitness level is elite, her anticipation world-class. That work ethic, her coach says, is what will ultimately define her career, not the chatter about mechanics. You can tweak technique forever, he said, but you can't teach heart. And Coco has it. Fans, too, have rallied behind her. Social media is filled with supportive posts, videos analyzing her best points, and slow-motion clips showing how much more compact and efficient her forehand has become. Even some former players who once criticized her form have since praised her transformation. It's a full-circle moment that shows how narratives evolve and how perseverance can reshape perception. Beyond technique, there's also a cultural layer to this discussion. Coco Gauff represents more than a tennis player. She's a role model, a young Black woman leading in a historically exclusive sport, and a voice for change. That visibility magnifies everything she does: her wins, her words, and yes, her forehand. But through it all, she's handled the spotlight with remarkable composure, never letting external noise disrupt her focus. Her coach believes that balance between ambition and perspective is what will carry her to the top for years to come. As the season progresses, all eyes will be on how she continues to refine her game. The coach remains confident that Coco's trajectory is only upward. "She's not done improving," he said. "What you're seeing now is just the beginning." He also pointed out that even at the top level, evolution never stops. Look at Federer, look at Serena, look at Djokovic. They all change things deep into their careers. That's how champions think. Coco's the same. Indeed, watching Gauff compete, you can sense that hunger. Each match feels like another step in a longer story, one that's still being written, one that's not defined by a single shot, but by an ever-growing mastery of her entire game. Whether she's grinding through long rallies, firing aces, or improvising with speed and agility, she radiates a blend of maturity and excitement that's rare in modern tennis. And perhaps that's why her coach is so passionate about defending her. He sees the full picture, not just the mechanics, but the mindset, the work, and the potential. By the time this debate fades, and it will, as results continue to silence doubt, Coco Gauff's forehand may well be the very thing people end up praising most. Because in tennis, like in life, the things people question often become the things that define you. Every criticism can become fuel. Every weakness can become strength. And if there's one thing Coco has shown time and again, it's that she knows how to turn pressure into power. So, as we watch her next tournaments unfold, remember what her coach said. The numbers don't lie. The wins don't lie. And Coco Gauff's journey is proof that growth doesn't happen in the absence of criticism. It happens in defiance of it. For her, the conversation around the forehand isn't a problem. It's a challenge she's already embracing and conquering one swing at a time. I'm Bella, and this has been Trending Now USA, your home for the latest buzz, bold opinions, and untold stories in the world of sports and beyond. Stay tuned, because Coco Gauff's story is far from finished, and something tells us the best chapters are still to come.